Welcome back to the 128KB podcast. We are back once again.
Due to lack of popular demand.
Such a good catchphrase.
It's really good.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's really good.
I came up with it myself.
You did, yeah.
The very first episode back.
Yes.
There's still a lack of demand, but we're here anyway.
Yes.
This is your weekly dose of all things gaming.
Oh, yeah.
And today,
I want to convince AJ to buy a Steam Deck.
Finally, okay. It's also a chance for us just to blow some smoke up Valve's arse.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
All the reasons why we still love the Steam Deck. And Andy this morning convinced me to buy one. So that's happening this weekend.
Oh, is that confirmation?
Wow.
Is it not that one?
I'll rip you.
No. Oh. It's not even there. Where's the foghorn? It's not even the right patch. There used to be a foghorn. I was waiting to go.
Oh, yeah, no, that was on the other desk.
Oh, that was in the old set.
Yeah, I haven't programmed it on this one yet. There is that though.
Oh, the tumbleweed that no one can hear. Yeah. Which we thought would be a really good idea.
Here's the tumbleweed.
It's just nothing.
I'll rip your head off. Eh?
Yes.
Oh.
That was good censorship.
Yes.
Okay, so the Steam Deck, and specifically the Steam Deck OLED.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it has to be if you're going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
The reasons why I should buy it, and really why we still think it is the best option, not just for handheld gamers, but probably the best option for gaming right now.
Absolutely. It's such a good system.
It straddles everything.
It does, yeah.
And there's 1,000 reasons why you should buy it. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Let us know when you bought one and we'll do an update video.
If you're in the comments, do let us know if you've got one already, or if you're on the fence about one, and maybe we can persuade you to join the dark side.
Yes, do it.
Now, I've said it before on this show, and for the new listeners, you won't have heard me say it, so I'm going to repeat it again. I love Final Fantasy VII. No,
he does. He says it every day, not even on when it's not the podcast.
The Steam Deck OLED is the first time in, I'm going to say, since probably the PS2 happened, that I've done that noise.
Yes.
When I've seen someone playing the new thing.
Yeah.
It's the OLED. You had it here when you first got it.
Yeah.
It just launched.
Yeah, it was literally like the day after or something.
And you had the back to the door that in this place where we were playing it, and I saw it over your shoulder, and I uncontrollably just went, oh wow.
Yeah.
And it rubber banded me back to seeing the PS2 for the first time.
Yeah. That
going
like oh
my god, look at that.
Yeah.
I think it may have been like GTA 3 or something, that kind of like, oh look, we're in the next generation now.
Yes.
And that feeling's been missing. It's definitely in the PS5 Xbox X era. That emotion's not been there yet.
No.
I've not really, maybe I a little bit had it in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Maybe a little bit in that game, but never like proper wow and awe gaming device. So the Steam Deck OLED is the first time, and it's not just how good it looks though, is it?
No, it's the whole package. It just wins.
Yeah.
And I mean, taking it back a little bit, going back to the LCD model, I mean, I put myself off, what was it, a year before I bought that?
Oh, we'll go back before it launched. The most disliked video we've ever made on 128KB was why I'm not pre-ordering the Steam Deck.
Yes, that was it.
That got ratioed hard.
It did get ratioed hard. I had a good point though.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the point was.
The point was that Valve had a really bad history of hardware.
Oh, that was the point. Yeah.
So I'm not going to pre-order it and take a risk. I'm going to wait for it to come out and see what it's like.
That's basically what I did as well.
Yeah.
I waited the first year for them to iron out the bugs, essentially, and basically make it more stable, and just to see how much effort they would put behind it. And then once I realised, like, I gave it that 12 months.
Yeah.
Then once that 12 months are in, the whole time, by the way, I wanted one. Like, I wanted one day one.
Yeah.
I wanted one before then, but I was like, no, I need to be hesitant. I don't want to just jump in, I want to just see what happens. And then that 12 months had been, and I said to Christina, I was like, I think now's the time,
It's going to happen.
I went through their like update logs and everything and just saw like hundreds of updates just going through and everything that had been improved and remembering what I saw at launch that had now been fixed.
Yeah.
And I was like, now is the time. And I remember getting the LCD deck and being mind blown. But within the first 5 minutes of me playing it, I said to Christina, if this had an OLED, this would be something else, you know. And I said to her, if they drop an OLED, I'm buying it, despite the fact I just bought an LCD. And I loved that LCD version. And then when the OLED was announced, like that day, I like took mine to a pawn shop, traded it in, got the cash ready for more than I paid for it.
Amazing.
And or at least the same amount. I can't remember. I got a ridiculous deal on that thing. And I was just sat on the wedge waiting for the OLED, and then like, you know, place the order and that. And then when that came, I had that final, like, this is it. You know, like, we're there now.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, mind blowing. Just like you, even though I'd already had long time experience with the LCD deck, getting that OLED was like, this is it, you know. Yeah. And I still feel like that now, however many months it's been since it launched.
It's been a fair while. Hardware wise, it's hard to argue its kind of value to what you're getting kind of offer. Yeah. That balance is incredible.
Yeah.
I hate the comparisons, man. I know I've said it before, but I hate the comparisons made between handheld devices and their equivalent console version.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's like a PS4. It's
yes.
Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no.
That's like comparing a motorbike and a car.
Yeah.
They're different things.
Yeah. They both go on the road, but
very different.
They're not the same.
Oh, it's only got 100 horsepower, but it's a motorbike.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, the comparison. So yes, it gets compared a lot to it. So it's kind of like PS4 performance. That's not fair.
Yeah, no.
At all.
No. It is totally different.
Yes, a phenomenal bit of hardware offering. I think really, for me, the biggest amazement thing is the Steam library.
Yeah.
That's got to be like the huge offering.
And the fact that you can access that anywhere.
Yeah, so if you've got a PC, I can, at any time in the future, I can access it. It is absolutely gigantic. The length and breadth of games that are in there, from amazing indie titles through to like full-on AAA releases.
Yeah.
It's insane. And the kind of compatibility with the Steam Deck in particular.
Yes, yeah.
It's a really high percentage,
massively now, especially now. And that was my other point of when it launched. I was like, what about the games?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And now we're however many years in, and Steam, you know, like Valve have been pushing so hard for testing their backlog of games, making sure stuff is properly like verified or supported or whatever. And if they're not, then like actually helping developers get there, you know, and make sure that these games are playable. It's just so easy to navigate, you know, and it's so easy to test stuff out if it hasn't even been tested by them yet. You know, there's nothing stopping you. If it says unsupported, just download it, try it. And if it doesn't work, use a different Proton, you know, and it probably will work. There's plenty of games. I'm thinking of Batman Arkham City, whatever the first one is, says it doesn't work. It does if you use the right Proton, you know, and it works fine. 60 FPS, you know, like just, it looks beautiful. It's great. And I like that. There's no like, it doesn't stop you downloading it. It doesn't say, you know, you can't do that.
I think great. That compatibility thing is a real testament to how much Valve are truly supporting this. And it wasn't just a drop and run. This is like long-term future. Everything is in supporting the hardware, constant updates to the software that's running on the operating system, but also the huge library consistently supporting the games that are on there.
Yeah. It's mad. Like we were saying this off camera. Imagine if like Nintendo, Microsoft or Sony put this much support into their system. Like, and be that transparent about it. Yeah. Like, it's unheard of.
Yeah, it really is.
But yet Valve's like, I swear every freaking week there's a new update or a new patch or whatever, you know, going into one of the channels, because you've got like stable, and then you've got like, I can't remember what the other ones are, but you've got a few different channels. So the stable channel's like, these are the official release patches. Then you got like the beta tester kind of style ones. I can't remember what they're called, but whatever, you know, so you can test out what they're working on fixing and stuff like that. I just leave it in stable myself. But if you want to tinker around and maybe get some bugs, then you can drop it down and try on one of the other modes. It is crazy how supported it is. And it's like really random things that get added that I wouldn't even expect either. And what I do love about it is they listen to the community and they take loads of different either feedback or mods that have been made by the community.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? You want this? We'll just implement it into the actual system.
It's weird, isn't it? 'Cause
mad.
They've taken the ethos of what Steam was and made it into hardware. When I think before the Steam Deck, what the Steam website was and the Steam library was. Yeah. Yes, it's a game marketplace, but it was way more than that.
Yes.
It was a community.
Yes.
It was a forum. It was places for indie developers to put their game on pre-sale. It was it was all of this big game community for the PC gamers. And they've taken that community ethos and gone, could we put that whole thing into hardware? And magically they've managed to do that.
Well, they've successfully done it here because they tried it previously kind of with like the Steam Link, and then they had like these weird little Steam PCs that were like offshoots with other brands, like, so you could get I don't think it was Dell, but like you could get the Dell Steam box and like that kind of thing, like, and there was definitely an Asus one, I'm sure, but there was like these weird like collaborations, and I just thought, I don't think this is going to go very well, and it didn't. It didn't do very well. But then when they did the Steam Deck, I was like, this has got potential. And then obviously waiting to see where it is now, it's absolutely, they've nailed it.
I think it had to be different from what was the hardware that was already there in order for it to work.
Yeah.
Just bringing out a Steam box, which is basically a PC.
Yeah, that's basically what they did.
Or it's a makeshift console that's a bit kind of open-ended.
Yeah.
There's no incentive for the people with a Steam library currently to get that, because I've already got a PC.
Yeah, they're already playing on PC.
And probably better than that. So what's the point? But the handheld enticed those PC gamers into something new.
Yes.
And was so accessible and easy that there was a lot of console gamers like myself that are going to gravitate towards it as well.
Yeah, and also the theory had been proven by the Nintendo Switch.
That opened the door to handheld hybrid gaming for certain.
Yeah.
Playing big title releases handheld.
Yep.
That definitely opened the door for it. But the fact that it's so easy opened the door to PC gaming to people like me.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I've never been interested particularly in that area, and every time I've done it, there's always been problems like you get, and I just want to play. I haven't got time to mess around. The driver stopped
Windows.
working.
Yeah.
And all the handhelds are mainly Windows based. Yeah. Like, and that driver stopped working. Okay, I need to. My FPS has dropped really low. What do I need to tinker with?
There's so much faff.
The scenery's not rendering properly. I just want to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Steam Deck allowed me to do that.
Yeah.
From its very basic level, the user interface, the UI that it has.
Yeah, it's a console experience.
Turn it on.
Yes.
If I just want a console experience, turn it on.
Yeah.
Press play on the game.
It's so easy. You literally just sign in.
I don't have to open an operating system and then a launcher and then hope that it's going to the update hasn't happened. It's going to break it.
And because all the Steam Decks are the same, it is like a console experience.
Yeah.
All the ratings apply to everyone's Steam Deck.
Yes.
As opposed to PC, everyone's got different configs, everyone's got different outdated systems or new systems or whatever.
Minimum requirements.
Yeah. You might be hitting different problems, whereas all the Steam Decks are the same, essentially, you know, so they're all going to play them the same, and that's huge, especially for something that essentially is just a PC. Yeah. That's massive.
Yeah.
So it's.
I think one of the really important things as well is that it doesn't run off Windows.
Yes. Yeah.
You can sideload and stuff.
You can.
A lot of people do that. I'll be honest, I don't know why you're bothering.
There's no point. No.
Why you put Windows on it?
The only reason to put Windows on it, if you're like a hardcore Destiny player or you want to play Call of Duty or whatever. But to be honest, if you're that far into wanting to play anti-cheat like based games like that, you're probably better off getting something like the Asus ROG Ally.
100%.
Just get something like that and deal with it. I know it's a bit more expensive, but the Steam Deck does so well at everything else. All the single player experiences, all the multiplayer experiences that don't have any cheat, and all the indie titles, which is where it absolutely excels, especially on the 90 hertz OLED. Like playing 2D platformers at 90 frames per second on an OLED.
It's a beautiful thing.
It makes me like just want to go play it right now. So there is a reason why people Windows load it, because that's the main reason why you can't play Call of Duty and Fortnite and stuff like that. It's just the anti-cheat thing is a Windows-based thing, and as soon as it sees Linux, it goes, nah, you're cheating.
You must be cheating.
Yeah, it's like what? It's just a different operating system.
Yeah,
but
if you're one of those gamers, you're in that top 5% that are going to be running off a decent PC. That if you want a handheld experience, like you say, go for the Asus ROG Ally, go for the MSI Claw, whatever it is, you're in need of the higher end experience.
Yes, yeah.
This is for the majority.
Yes, yeah.
I'd say. The Steam library thing, this is where I really want to kind of base it off, because this is where I think it really wins.
Oh, yeah, massively.
From that sense of community, they've carried that over. In fact, it's the same Steam library.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same. Which means that community and that level of transparency is absolutely there from the forefront.
Yeah.
Other e-shops and kind of digital storefronts from PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, they all have rating systems.
Yeah.
Of sorts. You can have user feedback of sorts. But the Steam library is the only one that is openly transparent before you even open the listing for the game.
Yes, yeah.
I can see how many people are having a good experience with this game in all time or right now.
Yes, which is big.
It's huge. And if I want more detail on what were their problems with it, then people can write detailed reviews. And it's not hidden away in the listing. The user feedback, like a living, breathing Metacritic where you can buy games.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah.
As told very recently by Star Wars, the Battlefront Classic Collection.
Yes. Yeah.
Which everyone was hyped about this remake from Aspire. And it was a hot mess at launch.
Don't pre-order games, kids.
Don't pre-order games. I think day one, if I remember this right, day one was 3,500 user reviews on Steam. 18% of them were positive.
Yeah, and the rest were mostly negative.
So then it has this orange warning, overwhelmingly negative.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so before I even look at details, I can see that people are having a bad time with this game.
Yes, but what I love about it is the fact that you've got a second rating, which is then the most recent update to that. So there's loads of games on console that I might see that have a bad rating. I write them off.
Yeah.
But on Steam, I leave them in my wish list. And then 6 months later, or whenever it might be, could even be years later, I'll open it up again and go, you know what? It will say, like, okay, overwhelmingly negative, but most recent reviews are mostly positive. And then you go, oh, I wonder why. And you look down and it's, they've sent a patch, or they've updated
it,
or they've implemented new features to the game and they've completely changed it. And like, imagine No Man's Sky when it came out.
Yeah, it's a great example.
Like, they lied, literally lied. The game was not what they promised.
Yeah.
Everyone went nuts. Imagine if that was it and it died there and then, like, and you had no way of knowing that it got better, right? That's effectively what an outdated system like those are.
Yeah.
But then on like Steam, for example, it's like, okay, yeah, it used to suck, but now they've done this and this and this, and everyone's actually loving it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now I can go back and actually try that game that I wanted to play before. It's great.
It removes some of the hangover of launch mishaps, which we see a lot of now, problems at launch. Cyberpunk would be a really good example of that. Huge game.
Yes.
Generational size game that now is complete and incredible.
Yeah, and people love it. Yeah.
At launch,
totally opposite. Yeah.
it was unplayable.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a joke.
It was a joke. It's a meme, you know?
Yeah.
So if the reviews were static, if there was only 1 tier reviews, then the overwhelming amount of them would have come at launch.
Yeah.
So it would always be negative.
Yes.
But even that aside, on the PlayStation and the Xbox equivalent, you have to go into the game listing. You have to go read all the details. There's the pictures, the preview videos.
They've hidden it, and they
right at the bottom, it's the user ratings, and there's no detailed feedback in that.
Yeah,
at least not that I can remember any off the top of my head. It's just a star rating.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
But again, on the Steam library, if you so wish, you write a whole.
Yeah. And some people leave like seriously detailed reviews.
Some people just leave memes and text pictures of boobs, and that's fine too.
That's true. Yeah.
But it's a community, and it's a rare thing that there is a community that's so like kind of overwhelmingly positive.
Yes.
And just supported. So it's supported by the company at large, but also the users, and it's all like everyone's working together for a better gaming experience for everyone.
Yeah.
I would go as far as to say that Valve feel like the only gaming company now that are genuinely for the players.
Yeah, it seems that way, isn't it? It's almost like they're totally unbiased and they're like, you guys run it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you
we'll
control
support it, you run it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You said it as well, you touched on it with the community modding.
Yes.
Which is, again, it's a huge thing to show that it's more than just a digital storefront. It's the whole thing's a
but that's
community.
what I love specifically about the deck,
Yeah.
is because you can do anything. It is just a PC. You can back out of big picture mode. You can go to the Linux desktop and you can do stuff if you're got the smarts, you know, like, especially if you're like super nerdy about it, you can do all sorts of stuff on there, whatever you want. But if you're maybe in a rush or maybe not as up to it as some other people may be, well, then you can use other people's settings and other people's findings and their work, like specifically for games that say unsupported but can run. They're just like, maybe the controls are completely messed up. For example, Psychonauts. I was like,
amazing game.
I want to play Psychonauts, you know, amazing game, especially on the OLED with all the colors and stuff. Brilliant game. Loaded it up, complete mess, you know, like I was like, but I know there's going to be a way of getting this to run. But how, you know, and it's just a little bit of problem solving. And it was, you know, you can just press the Steam button whilst you've got the game up or whatever. And then you can go to like community. And then there's all the different controller layouts and configs and stuff. And you can just select one. It will just open a menu of like hundreds of different people's. And they tell you specifically what they're doing. So maybe you want it to be like a joystick, like, you know, thing instead of a D-pad or whatever, and it will rebind and remap everything so that the game actually works rather than being a complete mess, which Psychonauts was, because it's such an old game, you know, it's like early 2000s game. It was not designed for the modern controller layout. Other people fixed it for me, so instead of me having to spend a weekend figuring out how to do it myself, I just like, I'll try this, guys. Oh, look, it works. I can play the game now.
Amazing.
You know, and that's brilliant. You know, it's really easy to find a solution. And because there's so many people with Steam Decks, even if you can't do it on the thing, a quick Google on your phone, someone's got a fix, you know. And if it really can't be done, well, then you'll find out pretty quickly. But, you know, there ain't much that can't.
That ethos of being for the players, one of the big things for me is that this comes from the PC world. The whole idea of the Steam website, the Steam community, the Steam library, it all comes from PC gaming. Yeah. PC gaming made the transition to digital only.
Oh, years and years ago.
15 years?
Yeah, easy.
Something like that?
More than that. Yeah. I'd say. Yeah, it was like around, I want to say around the 2007-8 mark.
Yeah. The last time I remember seeing boxed PC games would have been the PS2 era. Yeah. Early 2000s. Yeah. Would have been around then.
Yeah, I still had PC boxes up until probably about 2000. I want to say the Prince of Persia game that they did that was cell shaded, I've still got the box for that. Yeah, and I think that was 2008.
That sounds about right.
And that, I think, was like the end of it. Yeah. You know?
So let's say 15 towards 20 years.
Yeah,
but 15 for definite. Because of that, PC gamers have embraced this this idea of a digital storefront and digital purchasing of games. It's just happened. It hasn't happened on console yet. There's still a big kind of wall up against it.
Yeah.
But what Steam has done in particular, which is incredible, is you buy that game. The worry for everyone about digital only future is, oh yes, but if I buy my game off PlayStation, and PlayStation again recently have got a lot of problems with this, you could just take it away. You could lose the license to it. That game can get deleted from the ether.
Yeah.
In all of that time of the Steam library existing, that hasn't happened.
No.
Even if the game is no longer for sale, your copy of that game,
if you've bought it,
is still there.
Still there, yeah.
Even if you don't have that installed right now, your copy is still downloadable and installable.
I've got it for all the original GTAs. Like the very first ones. I've got it for like Fable 2 or 3, whichever that is. I've got a bunch of them on my library that you can no longer buy or even find the page for in Steam. But I can go and download it. Yeah. You know, like I've still got access to it because I bought it 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you know.
That's huge. That cannot be understated how big that is. Yeah. So I buy a digital purchase and our concern is always that it gets deleted off some server in the future.
Yeah.
Well, it just hasn't happened.
I remember you being mind blown when we got the LCD deck.
Yeah.
And I loaded up Half-Life 2. And I was like, oh, look, there's my save file from like 2004 or whatever it was. And you were like, what?
It was like time travel.
I was like, that's my actual save from then, you know. Like,
as a nostalgic gamer as well, as you can tell, that that in itself is like, it was as beautiful as if I had found my memory card for my PS2.
Yeah.
You know, and put it in and gone, no way, my save files are there.
Yeah.
I can see my old, I don't know if you've played like racing games and they used to do like the ghost cards of your old times. It's like, I can see myself playing this game. Seeing your save files for Half-Life 2 from how long? 20 years?
Yeah, pretty much.
Previous?
Yeah.
It was like one of those kind of time travel moments. Like,
mad,
that is incredible.
Yeah, it is really good.
Beautiful for the players, embracing this digital future, which we're going to have to get used to in the console world.
Yeah.
But showing you that it can still be player friendly.
Yes, yeah.
I love it.
Yes, yeah, and that's one thing I love about it as well, is I know like when there's a Steam sale, which we'll talk about in a second, I can buy a game and be like, I'll probably play it in 20 years. I know in 20 years' time, I've got access to that game and I can play it, you know, and if I had started playing it, if I wanted to continue my save from 20 years ago, I can.
Just remember what the controls are.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense to talk about it now. It's not just the Steam sale, it's the Steam Spring sale as we're recording this. It just started.
Yes, and I bought more games I'm not going to play.
Yeah, that kind of inspired this conversation. Someone in our Discord server, join the Discord, you have to be a channel member. It's only 9 member. Yeah. There's links everywhere. Just do it and you can get part of the Discord. But someone in there was talking and saying, oh, spring sale started today. How many of you buy any good game that's under £5 with the thought that you're probably never going to play it? I was like, everyone? That's what the Steam sale is? Yes. But you get incredible games, $2.99.
It's insane.
What?
Yeah. Some games are like 98% off. And you're just like, yes.
Yeah.
Like,
So the whole thing, again, it's community is the kind of bubble that it sits in. But the focus within that community is the individual player. It's really beautifully done. You're incentivized in many ways. Any game you like the look of, when you're scrolling through this Steam library, is to go, I'm going to add that to my wish list and keep an eye on it.
You saw how many were in my Steam
You must have had 100 games in your wish list.
Easily more than that, yeah.
And then any time a game in your wish list is on sale, and it doesn't just happen in the big sales, they can just go, oh, it's 50% off. You go, do I fancy buying that for £3 or not? Yeah. And it's literally that cheap.
It is that cheap, yeah. And you get a notification on your phone if you've got Steam installed, get an email, and on your Steam Deck, you know, you just get a notification. You're like, oh, sweet, I'll have a look at that.
What I think is wonderful about that is that there's, in my mind, in buying the amount of games I have throughout the years, there's two types of games.
Yeah.
There's the big moment games that I have to play as soon as they're released.
Yes, yeah.
Like
Final Fantasy?
Have you heard of it?
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't bring that up before.
It's a great example. If you were, I don't know, into Spider-Man, when Spider-Man 2 came out.
And the PlayStation exclusives that are on PC?
That are on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, so you can play it on Steam, yeah.
Metroid Dread, I've just seen it over your shoulder.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's these moments that are really big that you have to play it at
immediately,
launch,
yes.
and you're happy to pay the full ticket, £70 price.
Yeah.
And then there's every other game that you like the look of.
Yeah.
For me, less so for you, Prince of Persia would have sat in that.
Yes.
The Lost Crown. I was like, that's a game I like the look of.
Yeah.
There's loads of kind of Metroidvania games that I like, I kind of like the look of that.
Yeah.
There's a ton of indie games that happens to. It's games that we talk about quite a lot. Like, I'd quite like to play that at some point. Helldivers 2.
Yes.
Great example.
Yeah.
They're the games that like I'll get round to at some point I like the look of. Add them to my wish list.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know at some point in the future, I'm not in a rush to play them, but I know that they're good.
Yeah.
It will end up in a sale.
Yeah, and you get notified. They didn't get lost in the, in the whatever.
Yeah.
You actually can go, oh yeah, I remember now. And oh, look, the price drop. I mean, it's happened to me. I mean, even today with Helldivers 1, I've always wanted to play that, but I was like, I don't really want to play it. Like, I don't want to play it that bad, And then this morning it was like, Steam sale, £3. I was like, now I want to play it. I was like, I'm having that one, thanks. Yeah. And I probably will never play it, but at least I've got access to it if I want to.
And this isn't, if you're on the fence about the Steam Deck, this isn't an of the moment thing. The idea of the Steam sale has been around for as long as I can remember.
Well, it happens multiple times a year.
Is it the Humble Bundle?
Yeah, they do stuff. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like that started a long time ago.
Yeah.
Spring sales. This idea of big ticket sales or big bundles of sales has been around since the library's been around.
Yeah.
It's not as like a new thing to get people onto the Steam Deck.
No, and they do it multiple times a year. Like, you know, they do it at Christmas, they'll do it at freaking, I don't know, whatever holiday there is in America, it pretty much covers, you know, like Thanksgiving sale, like stuff like that. There's a good sale. I'm pretty sure it's about 4 times a year.
Yeah.
It's once a quarter, really. Yeah. And then you get massive sales. And sometimes you'll just find a random sale. What I do like as well is you'll more than likely get pre-order sales. So like if a new game's coming out, even though, you know, we said not to pre-order games, but, you know, sometimes you do, you know, sometimes you can't help yourself.
I pre-ordered a game recently.
Oh yeah,
a Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, that small indie game I've not heard of. Yeah.
It's like a small company, Square.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but yeah, if a game's coming out like Final Fantasy, you know, that small indie game.
Small indie game.
Yeah. You often get like a 10-15% discount if you pre-order it, and you're like, oh, go on then. You know, I've done that with a lot of indie games that like pretty cheap anyway. I don't have like overly high expectation, and I go, you know what, I'll support them. Go on then. And usually it's pretty fun. Most of the time I wait for the release, wait for the user scores, and then I'll base my purchase off of that. But the fact that all of that comes into play, like, it's just so easy.
I will say there is a negative.
Oh yeah.
And it's with Steam in general.
Yeah.
There is one negative.
Yeah.
Because it's a very open marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have as much of a problem as Nintendo does with just thousands of drivel.
Oh, what, all the hentai games? Yeah.
Because you can sort and browse a lot easier than you can on the eShop. Yes. So you can sort through the rubbish a lot easier. Yeah. But it is a very open, low bar place to publish games.
Yes. Yeah. So there could be a lot of
there can be a lot of stuff, but when it's already released and if it's rubbish, you'll just have like either no reviews, and that's an alarm bell in itself, or it's just overwhelmingly negative, and we know this is rubbish. My negative is born out of the odd occasion, and it does happen, Dead by Daylight or whatever it was called. What was it? Not Dead by Daylight, the game that never happened. The
day before.
The day before. That's right. Dead by Daylight, something else. I'm sorry to the people that made that game. It's no way associated to this negative thing. The day before.
That was
it, or whatever it was called. That open world, supposed to be zombie survival game that never actually happened.
Yeah. Well, it kind of did happen, but just not.
Yeah. The idea of being basically a paid beta tester on games.
Yes.
Or buying things in a kind of crowd-funded way.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what the kind of community was born out of on this, when Steam very first started.
Yeah. Well, the like early access stuff.
Early access.
Yes, which they make very clear if it's early access.
Yeah. But because of that, there is a lot of scope for the odd negative thing to happen where people have lost money on really bad experiences. I will say, from a game developer's perspective, you know, as I've said before, I came from a world where I used to be part of game development teams working on music and the sound effects, and I was part of a lot of games that were early access, and the ones that never made it to full release, everyone in it is trying their best. It just never happened. And if anyone out there's ever done any kind of creative endeavor, not everything works out. Sometimes things fail, sometimes it falls apart, you run out of money, time, or just energy. So sometimes it's genuine, and that's what one of the risks of early access is. But other times, and the idea of early access, it is open to exploitation, and it has happened, as shown by that game.
Yeah, but the good thing is if you've got a playtime of under something like 2 hours, no questions asked, refund.
Really?
Yeah,
that's incredible.
On Steam, yeah. So any game you buy, so you know when you bought Robocop and you didn't like it,
I do.
On Xbox, and you paid full price.
Yeah, it was £60,
and they wouldn't give you the money back.
No, they wouldn't refund me.
If you bought it on Steam, you would have got your money back, no questions asked.
I think I played for 2 hours, something like that, and I just realised that I hated it.
I'm pretty sure you've got to play under 2 hours. I might be wrong, it might be more than that now.
Yep.
But if you've got a playtime, because it's all logged in your account, and it's the same with people's reviews, by the way. I forgot to mention this. This is a really good thing. If you see people's reviews, it will tell you how many hours they've spent.
That's interesting.
So it will say they played this game for 10,000 hours, and then you're like, okay, yeah, that person knows.
What I'm talking about.
Whereas if it says for like 0.5 minutes, then you're like, yeah, okay, they're just making crap up, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they will refund anything.
That's incredible.
Easy to do.
Again, that whole ethos of it's about the community with a focus on the player as an individual.
Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal. Prices of games, though, go back full circle to it.
It is mad. Like with the Switch, because the Nintendo Switch is basically what I wanted. Well, no, sorry. The Steam Deck is what I wanted the Switch to be, and at the time, that's what it was, because there was no handheld PCs, really, not affordable ones, and like not weird niche things. So when the Switch came out and then it started having third-party games, that's why I got so heavily invested in that, because I was like, there's loads of PC games coming now that I can play portably, because I've always loved handheld play. Yeah. And that's why I endorsed the Switch so much, and I was really focused on that. And all the third-party titles that are like Nier Automata and all that kind of stuff that had come over, I'd be like, I'm jumping on that. But really, all I wanted was the Steam Deck, so I could play all these games that I'd already bought, because I ended up buying games twice just to play on the Switch, so I could play them portably. No cross-save with PC. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just the novelty of that. And then when the Steam Deck came, I'm like, oh, great, you know, I've now got access to my whole library. Yeah,
I've got 20 hours of save time on that one.
And vice versa, there's games I've bought on the Switch that I've now rebought on Steam, because it's like half the price on Steam as it was on Switch. Yeah. And I know like these saves are going to last me, you know, I can play this in the future on basically any PC, whereas with the Switch, it might at some point become redundant.
I'll say in my mind, if you've not got any gaming console at the moment, Steam Deck's a great choice.
It really is. Yeah.
But if you do, I think it makes the perfect partner thing. Yes. Like you've got a PlayStation in your lounge or your bedroom or whatever.
Yeah.
Steam Deck's an awesome accompaniment to it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And there's plenty of games that are cross-save between PlayStation and Xbox as well.
Yes,
because there are PlayStation Studio games on Steam, and there's Xbox Studio games on Steam as well, and there is cross-save games out there. Especially,
you can stream off your Xbox onto it as well with an app, can't you?
Yeah, you can remote play. Yes, you can do that with both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox,
which adds to it's a great partner.
Yep,
especially if you've got a PlayStation that's saying you were thinking about the Portal for remote play. But
I'm just sneezing my head off over it.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you.
If you've got a PlayStation and you were thinking about something to play portably and the Portal was an idea, it's £200 and it doesn't do anything else.
No.
Maybe consider the Steam Deck as a partner to that.
And the Steam Deck OLED is an HDR
OLED
display,
panel.
Whereas the Portal isn't.
No.
Doesn't even support HDR.
Honestly, it looks so much better than the Portal. The other thing I kind of... It feels a little bit of a... There's got to be a hot take per episode, isn't there?
Yeah.
It feels like a hot take for this episode.
Yeah.
Something that I'm going to annoy people with.
Okay, yeah.
It kind of feels like the Steam Deck is the perfect console to play all the games that you just want to play.
Yes.
Whereas, like, if I want the AAA day one release thing, I probably want to sit in front of a TV and have a full, or a PC and have the full experience.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So the Steam Deck feels like the best accompanying.
Yes, it is.
Device.
Yeah. That's kind of what they made it for, isn't it? It was like, I've seen the success of the Switch, you know, and PC gamers to have no other option. Yeah. The only other thing is to have a massive laptop that gets really hot, really loud. You need a power supply. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, here's my hot take. I always hated laptop gaming.
Yeah.
Hated
I've done it, and I've always had a gaming laptop, but it sucks. Yeah. You know, I would choose the Steam Deck any day because you got built-in controller. Yeah. You know, like with a laptop, you need a controller, you know, or another mouse, or do you know what I mean? Whatever it is.
Playing off the touchpad.
Yeah. But yeah, so... Yeah, the Steam Deck is excellent for games that, like you said, you just want to play. And it's so easy to just pick up and go. Yeah. You just press a button, okay, great. I can play half an hour if I want, or less. Or I can sit there for hours and like dive into it, especially on the OLED where the battery level, the battery life is so much better.
Yeah.
You saw I was getting like 6 to 9 hours in some 2D games, which is insane, whereas on some other Windows-based, handhelds, you're looking at like an hour, so I think the Steam Deck's the perfect balance between power and like battery life.
Yeah.
It's a middle ground. It's better than the Switch, not quite as good performance-wise as these other, more expensive systems. But the other thing is upgradability and customization. Like, it's so easy to mod your Steam Deck.
You did it straight away, didn't you?
I immediately upgraded the
hard drive,
the SSD. Yeah, so I bought the 512 gig OLED because I knew I was going to upgrade to a 2 terabyte, NVMe. Super easy, really easy to do. Just pop the back off, disconnect the battery.
What about reinstalling the operating system and stuff?
There's
How
two
hard
ways.
was it?
Really easy. There's two ways to do it. You can either clone the original one if you've got like an SSD enclosure, like an M.2 enclosure. So you can do it that way and clone, which would be easier. I tried to do that, but it wouldn't work for some reason. So I just ended up flashing the Steam OS. You just download it and mount it onto a USB or an SD card, and then just stick it in. Done. Just boot it off that, and then it works. It's really easy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I guess the final part really is that we know that it's going to have longevity. Not just the hardware. The hardware in of itself, we know has got a good few years left in it.
Yeah, at least. A good 2 to 3 years.
Valve said as much.
Yeah.
But they're not upgrading this until there's a reason to upgrade it.
And there's no need for them to, because otherwise they're diving into like Xbox territory with having a Series X and a Series S.
Yep.
You don't want that, so they're not going to have like these 2 different power output systems that they've got to like try and juggle.
Yeah.
They're going to wait and then do the successor when there's actually a big enough leap ahead to make it worthwhile, for sure. But even then, they're going to support both.
And that was my other point to the longevity thing, is that we know from looking backwards over the past 15 odd years that it's existed, that you buy a game then and you can still play it now.
Yes.
Even if it's not for sale anymore, you can still download it, get your save file and play it now.
Yeah.
So we know if you bought a Steam Deck today and I don't know, you bought 100 games on it because you were feeling flush, and then it gets sunsetted and the new one comes out and you don't buy it, not right away, your games aren't deleted.
No, you'll still be able to play on the original.
Maybe you reformat your Steam Deck and sell it. Your library is still there online. You can log into it on your PC, see it anytime. Maybe you get a gaming PC in the future. All your games are still there. Maybe you then jump into the Steam Deck 2 when that comes out, whatever it will be called. Your games will still be there.
Yes.
You're almost, it kind of feels like investing into a game library that will be there maybe forever.
Yeah, you're like investing into the library rather than the hardware.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days where you'd invest into the console. This is like almost, like you said, you're investing into your game collection.
Yeah.
Knowing that it will be there with you.
Yeah.
And the other good thing is because you can play pretty much any game on it. Yeah, okay, some of the most modern AAA titles might struggle a little bit, so you're looking at like 30 FPS, it's fine. But if you've got a gaming PC, so what I've got is my editing gaming PC upstairs, and that's hardwired into my router, and then I can have my Steam Deck OLED downstairs. I can actually get the PC to play the game, render it, and then just Wi-Fi, like through the Wi-Fi, stream from that system.
So it can remote play.
I can
from your PC
remote play from my PC, and you can check a box in Steam so that my PC is only rendering out at 800p.
Yeah.
So it'll be like 240 FPS. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of like it'll be maxing it out because my gaming PC is way more powerful, obviously, than just a Steam Deck. So you'll be getting all those visuals. You can crank everything up to maximum and it'll look beautiful whilst you're playing it there. And providing you've got a stable internet connection, you can do that great. Or you can do what I do, which is dock the Steam Deck into my TV, my 4K TV, get my PC upstairs to render it out of 4K and play it through my Steam Deck onto my TV. So it's like I've got a console.
I mean,
there.
For those that didn't want to do that, you could just plug your Steam Deck as is into your TV.
You can just do that, yeah.
Set the output to 1080, as you were saying, so it's not trying to crank out 4K output from that APU.
Yeah.
And you then are playing it kind of dockable like the Nintendo Switch is.
Yeah. And for most games, that'll be fine, providing you're at a lower resolution.
Yeah.
And you're not expecting too much out of it. But for like platformers and 2D games and indie games, oh my God, you'll smash through that perfectly, you know. And even some modern AAA games, providing that you're on a lower resolution, lower graphics settings, it will absolutely output that to your TV.
Put it in performance mode.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7.
Yes, yeah.
I'm looking at you.
But yeah, it is insane. There's so much stuff we haven't even like gone through as well, you know, that it can do.
Yeah.
There's just too much really to encapsulate, but it's amazing.
It is amazing. And it's definitely something that you persuaded me now to get into. I was on board anyway. I've just been sat on the fence to spend the money, but I kind of live vicariously through you. And I get to play yours every so often, so you know.
Well, that's why I've purposely not been bringing it recently.
Yeah, so. I've been like, what else am I going to do with my day?
I know, that's it. So I've like waiting to see how long it will take for you to purchase one.
It's happening. Let us know in the comments below if you're on YouTube.
Yes.
If you're already a Steam Deck diehard, or perhaps you're on the fence and you're thinking about getting it. Let us know if you are that way. Or maybe you think the opposite and I don't know, you hate it. Maybe you hate life. Let us know. If you're on the podcast platforms, please do rate the show.
Yes.
Obviously 5 stars.
Yes.
Now that your 45 minutes of the show is over, it's time to leave the toilet.
Yes.
Make sure you wipe, wash and rate the show.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Our other catchphrase.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I did as well. Yeah.
Channel memberships is, of course, open.
It is indeed.
That's the other big one. And it really means a lot.
It does.
I think it's 99p on YouTube. Join the channel memberships. You get exclusive videos.
Yep.
We do this little after show thing.
Yep.
You get access to the podcast early, and you get to join us in our Discord, and it's a lot of fun. Just come and join the family, the 128 KB family. I think they're called KBers.
Yeah, the little KBers.
KBers. There you go. That leaves only one thing, and that's to watch other videos from us.
Yes, do it.
Smashed between our faces.
Go watch one.
Right here. Yeah, many videos of love.
Yes.
And I guess until the next time.
Those ones are private.
Oh, the love videos.
Yes.
Is that like my Animal Farm? We'll see you next time.
Bye.